בווידאו הזה אנחנו הולכים לדבר על פשיעה. לפי דעתי כל משקיע, זה הדבר הראשון שהוא מתעסק איתו. האם האזור שאנחנו משקיעים בו הוא אזור בטוח, הוא אזור בעייתי, האם אנחנו צריכים לדאוג ממשהו, יש דברים שאנחנו מסתירים מאיתנו או לא רוצים לדעת. בווידאו הזה אנחנו הולכים לדבר על כל הדברים האלה, ובשביל לדבר על הדברים האלה, אנחנו ניתן את השרביט לקריס, שהוא ה-VP of Operations בבלורה. Chris, we're going to talk about crime today. Why do we need to check it? What are we need to be concerned about? And how are we checking crime rate in a specific market?
All right, so when we're looking at neighborhoods, we need to look and see what the crime rates look like. And that's going to also have a little bit of play off of the different classifications of property. So property are classified Class D through Class A. Class D property is going to be what a lot of people will call the war zone type properties. And we don't invest there. Sometimes there's gentrification, and those are going to be just very heavy lift environments as far as getting them to turn around. So we don't tend to go into those spaces. Class C is your more prominent value add. And in Class C, you're going to still have some quantities of crime, but then the crimes will be a lot of nuisance type crimes. And we'll get into that a little bit later. Class B, you're going to have more amenities on property. There's typically a little less value add. That's more of your working class to middle class. They're concerned with their credit rating. They keep out of trouble. So you don't have as much crime in those spaces, but you lack the value add a lot of times. And then Class A property is the luxury property, and you won't see hardly any crime there. So we're typically in the Class C space for the most value add to the property. And then we really have to go through the location where the property is located and sift through the different types of crime to see what they are and if there's any actual substance to those. Crime stats are very near and dear to my heart because my wife is law enforcement. So she's helped me sift through these over the years so I can better understand what I'm looking at rather than just seeing their stuff all over the map and going, man, that's a terrible place. And it really isn't. A lot of people like to use the website Spot Crime. I put this up here so that you can use it in the event that the data isn't available on the next website we're going to go to, which is Community Crime Map. I prefer Community Crime Map over Spot Crime because Community Crime Map lets you go a full year in history, lets you sort through different types of crime, and lets you, the map just moves a lot easier and you get a lot more data, and you can extract data from Community Crime Map that you can't extract from Spot Crime. All right, so what we can see here is Indianapolis. The search will allow you, if you don't have a full address, you can go in here to jump to city, put in the state first, and then we're going to go ahead and do Indianapolis. And that's going to take you to Indianapolis. And then you want to make sure that your your date range is in excess of a couple of days. So we've got 1 year plugged in there, and we're not seeing any icons. So that would imply that Indianapolis does not support this website. So then you would need to go into Google and you would need to go search for crime maps for Indianapolis and find another source. But so that we can use this website, because I really like this website, we're going to go to Bradley County, Tennessee, which is where Cleveland, Tennessee is. And then as you can see, there's some icons that pop up here. We've got a date range that's 1 year, so it's plenty of depth for us. And we can look around down here and we can see the different types of icons. So we can click on events and it will show us what the different icons mean. So the blue houses, it's a burglary residential. The blue looks like somebody's running from somebody else. We've got a robbery on an individual. Now, when you've got those icons, you can also hover on the icon and then it will bring up the event. Oh, and the map moved on me. There we go. It brings up the event. It gives you the date, gives you the time. If the event is a significant event, you can go to Google and put in the city and state that you're looking and the date and whatever the crime is. So in this instance, it's aggravated robbery, and see if there was any news coverage, and you can get more information on it. Especially if it was a fire, if there was an aggravated assault, anything that's very significant in the crime stats, you can go search and find out more exactly what happened, if it was a one-off, just crazy event. If you see a lot of individual thefts, those are good to look at so you can get a feel for, it's a theft of property. I'm trying to move the map again. It's not, there we go. Theft of property. It doesn't give us a dollar range. Some of the cities and counties will upload different levels of events, so that you can get a better idea of exactly, was it somebody's phone? Did they steal somebody's car? Did they break into their house and steal all their jewelry? It will break more of those kind of things up. If they don't have that level of data, once again, you can go to Google, search the date, search the event. If there's no coverage on it, then chances are it wasn't worth reporting from the news side of the house, and it wouldn't be worth a concern. Now, if you're looking at a property that has a lot of robberies going on in the immediate area, and the sponsors don't have some means to speak to what they're going to do for that crime that's going on and been reported over the last year, that's a question that you would want to bring up as an investor and say, hey, what are you planning on doing? Because you've got 6 robberies over the last year in the immediate block of your property that you're looking to buy. And if they don't have any way to mitigate that, you may want to go on to another investing opportunity.
What would be your top 5 or 3 red flags, crimes that you say, okay, if this happens, that's a no-go?
All right. So another reason I like this website, under the events, you can select the items that are of less concern. So I can look at right here and see there's not a whole lot of density of crime. So I'm going to go ahead and take the burglaries off. I'm going to go ahead and take the robberies off. There's no sexual assault on the whole map, so I'm going to go ahead and take that off. Motor vehicle theft. The key with motor vehicle theft, there's one down here. We're going to go ahead and click on it. What happened? So it can be theft from a vehicle, and a lot of times they'll tell you, was it an actual break-in to where it was a kinetic theft, or did somebody leave their car unlocked and they opened up the door and someone took their laptop out of their front seat? So in this instance, it says crime is joyriding, which means somebody actually took the car and went for a joyride with the car. So that's a little bit more of a significant, but it's not something that I would necessarily not invest in an area, because it is definitely a one-off here. Death investigations are ones that I would shy away from. Homicides, manslaughter, I would shy away from. Aggravated assault, you definitely want to look at those more in depth to find out if there was any additional factors involved there. If it was a domestic, and a lot of times it will tell you if there was a domestic, and there's no examples on the map to show you. If it was a domestic on your property, but you're looking to improve the property, then that resident base would go away. So that wouldn't be as much of a concern anymore. Arsons are also a concern. Do you have arsonists in the area that are burning everything down? So those are the main things that you want to look at. And so weapons violations, there is one. Good. We'll look at the weapons violation. Let's see what it is. Unlawful carrying or possession of a weapon. That simply means that they didn't have a permit to carry the weapon on themselves. There was no kinetic activity to where they were robbing somebody, etc., doing anything with the weapon. They just happened to have it on them, but they didn't have a permit to carry it. So that would not be a major concern for me, even though it is involving a weapon. In the States, well, I won't say in the States, in the state of Tennessee, As long as you've got a permit to carry, so you've been through all the background checks, you can carry. If you've got one on you, then obviously it's a minor offense. Nobody's going to go to jail, but they can be fined for it.
Okay, so if it's anything outside the scope that you just mentioned, investors should not be worrying so much, although they see those icons of crimes. Okay, you just need to see that there's not a whole bunch of them, but if they see those death investigations, weapon violations that are critical, manslaughter, or all the rest of the things that we mentioned, these are red flags. You definitely want to address them with your syndicator, and you want to get some explanations or move on to the next deal.
Correct. And one other thing you can look at here is this weapons violation. If when you click on it, it gives you the date of when it occurred and the time. If there was a corresponding date and time for a aggravated assault, those were probably the exact same event. They just didn't get charged with aggravated assault with a weapon. Maybe they were in a fist fight and happened to have a weapon on them. But that would still pique my interest because people are fighting and carrying weapons in the space. So that may be something else that I would shy away from, but you really have to look at what was going on. Were they two events totally separate months apart, or was it the same day, same event, multiple charges?
Okay, that's good information. חברים, לסיכום כל הנושא של פשיעה, אתם רוצים להיכנס לאתרים, להכניס את הכתובת, לראות מה קורה, אבל אתם חייבים להבחין בין פשעים או פשיעה שהיא חמורה, כמו רציחות, כמו גנבות חמורות, בסדר? כמו חקירות משטרה בנושאים כאלה ואחרים, וכמובן כל מה שקשור לנשקים, לאישון של קנאביס, או איזשהו ריב משפחתי, דומסטיק ויילנס וכאלה. ולשים את ההפרדה, קריס נתן פה טיפ מאוד מאוד חשוב, אם אתם רואים weapon violation ואיזשהו assault, לבדוק את התאריכים, לשים לב אם התאריכים חופפים אחד לשני, יכול להיות שזה אותו מקרה, אם התאריכים לא חופפים, זה שני מקרים שונים. אני ממליץ לכם בחום להיכנס לאתר, להתחיל להכניס כתובות, או של עסקאות שיש לכם, או של עסקאות שאתם מתעניינים בהן, להתחיל לשחק עם הדברים, והכי חשוב, להתחיל לפתח את החוש שמבין על מה אנחנו כן שמים דגש, ומה זה בסדר. דבר אחד אנחנו למדנו, גם באזור שאתם גרים בו, גם אם זה האזור הכי טוב בעיר, מתקיימת פשיעה כל הזמן. אנחנו רק צריכים להבין האם הפשיעה הזאת היא מדאיגה, או אם הפשיעה הזאת היא בסדר.